Hello and welcome to See Hope Podcast, where we find the hope in every situation. Tonight, we've got a very special episode for you. We have a Mother's Day special, and we've got a few awesome guests on for you tonight. And hopefully, some beautiful and funny stories might come out, probably at my expense, but we'll see. Before we get started, please hit the like button, subscribe the channel, and share the show with all your friends. Every like will equal a flower to my wife for Mother's Day, and every share will equal a flower to my mother for Mother's Day. So make sure you smash those, because if I have to buy 100 flowers, I will.
Oh, and then that would mean the vases that have been empty and in my dark cupboards might come to light.
So that means a lot of shares right there.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we can't do this without you, so please help us out and do that for us. And as you saw, we have a couple of guests, and joining us tonight we have my mother Jane.
Hi.
It is good to see you. It's good to have you here. And we have my wife Emilia, who is a mother to be, and she is, of course, 27 weeks pregnant.
Got it right.
I got it right. I didn't get that wrong. It's been quite a journey, and we're excited to be parents. And she's going to talk about her experiences being, a mother to be, and my mother's going to share her experiences being a mother to me and my two siblings, and the craziness that the whirlwind I was.
Absolutely.
So I might throw it to my mum. Mum, let's just start with the best stuff. What's your favorite thing about being a mother?
Oh,
How long have you been a mother for?
I've been a mother for, well, if you count the 9 months prior to the release of my firstborn, it's been
Like the video release, movie release.
over 37 years.
There you go. It's a long time. It's a good innings.
Yes, and lots to learn throughout that time. And I still continue to learn because now I'm a grandmother.
Yes, you are. And you're going to be a grandmother again soon. Like you're still a grandmother second time over with the birth of our child.
Yes, very exciting.
So what is your favorite thing about being a mother?
It's there's many things really, but I think it's the privilege and the honor that God gives to women to be so instrumental in the lives of their children.
What do you think it means to be a mother, especially in our society today?
Well, I still think that motherhood is so important, particularly in those early years. But the stability of motherhood throughout a child's life is so valuable to the way they grow up, the way they think, the way they make decisions. And if it's a close relationship, it just has so much more value to their growth as as a child, from toddler to a child to a teenager to an adult, and hopefully, if I've done my job well as a mother, then our relationship has become deep and enriched through all of those memories that we've experienced together.
It's definitely been definitely a deep relationship that I have with you. So I think you've done a good job here, I think. Do you think motherhood is motherhood is kind of under attack in our society?
Yes, I think that there's a deterioration in the respect to the role that a mother has. And I know that our society is presenting a lot of challenges to women in particular, to be that superwoman that both holds a full-time job as well as is the parent, doing most of the child rearing. But for some mothers, they're doing it alone. And for many different reasons, it's becoming a greater challenge. Government is placing restrictions upon the way we can think and say to our children. Our education system is having an effect on that as well. And yes, I take my hat off to women today in the way they manage the role and manage to come out the other side in in that really strong, positive relationship with their children.
Yeah. And what has been like the hardest thing about, I guess, your journey as being a mother?
Hardest thing.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing you've had to go through as being a mother?
I think being a mother of adult children is one of the hardest spaces to be in.
Yeah. Right.
We certainly, from my perspective, I'm very careful not to make any judgments or say anything.
Yeah, I guess it's because the world, like everything's kind of changed so much
It has
from your
changed,
time.
yes. And how I raised the three children that I was blessed to have is different to the environment in which my children are raising their children. So I just want to be a support and be there when I'm asked to be there and help when I can.
Yeah.
It's a very different role as a parent to adult children than it was as a mother to small children.
Yeah.
There's no controls. There's no
Yeah, I can run rampant.
yeah, pretty much. And standing back.
That's where I come in.
That is.
But standing back and watching your children make mistakes is, as adults, children, is really hard. And I found, particularly as an adult with adult children, that my prayer, the time I spend in prayer for my children has grown exponentially. My trust in God to know that in seeking the best for you as an adult son is to trust in God's word and know that the promises that He gives to me in prayer and faithfulness is going to impact on your life.
Yeah. So what I want to kind of get is, what is like your journey? So from start, like how many kids have you had? Obviously 3 because I've kind of mentioned it. But like from beginning to end, what was your life looking like as a mother, as well as like what did you do going through the years? Can you give us like a snapshot of your motherhood? I guess it's still going, but
yeah.
Does it ever end?
I know. And I think that the longer I'm a mother, the more I realize, as my mother would have said to me, you never stop being a mother. She was, my mum was my best friend, and we were very close. And I watched her role with myself and my 2 brothers, and I watched her role with her brothers and her parents, and she exhibited such grace and patience with us, and she was very much the peacemaker in our family. Now, for me as a mother, I've got to say there's a lot of those years that are kind of blank in my head, because I would say that there are times we go through our lives with children that we're hanging by our fingernails. We really, you're making decisions on the spare of the moment. You're trying to navigate spontaneous situations. We were, as a couple, we were running a business for 22 years. Through those years that you were very young. And while that was difficult and there was a huge responsibility to ensure that bills were being paid and invoices were being generated and work was being done, it gave me the opportunity to be one of the original workers from home, because I could navigate the hours of my work into the late evenings so that it didn't impact on those important times when you got home from school. Or when you were having problems as a toddler or as a young child, navigating relationships with other kids and even with your own siblings.
Oh yeah, we bumped heads.
Oh, totally. You and your sister were like Tom and Jerry. I was always splitting you apart and just realizing that hormonally you were probably at the same level. So short of killing each other, we managed to
mix.
we managed to get you through.
And for those who don't know who Tom and Jerry are, Google it, have a look at a few of the episodes, and you thank me later.
They're forever bashing each other up, right?
Also, for any other mothers out there, if you have children who are like Tom and Jerry, leave us a comment and let us know your experience of that kind of. But yeah, me and my sister tended to bump heads, and I think my brother was kind of a bit more above it.
Well, he was always too busy with sport, so he didn't have a real lot of time for that. But he was very much the peacemaker between the two of you, and a good distraction to save the moment at times.
Do you have any like biggest regret as a mother?
Oh, there've been waves of regret when I've had to discipline or admonish you or make a decision about something that may have seemed harsh at the time. I think there's that fine balance between wanting to just give everything to your children, to realize giving everything is not the best thing to do. And saying no is the hardest thing to say because of the reaction you get from it, particularly from a toddler. I had that happen this week with my granddaughter, and you have
a pretty good. You and Dad were telling us a story today about the no word.
The no word. Yes, she's got to be the youngest.
Trigger, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. And she told a lie
It's
to
an easy
my
word to say.
husband. Yeah, I think it was one of the first words that she's ever said. And look, she's not even 2 yet, but she managed to tell a lie. And her mum picked it up the other night when we were speaking. And I thought, oh my goodness, we are born in sin.
Yeah,
we are born with the predisposition to be negative and rebellious, and it really is the cast of human nature to be defiant.
Yeah. Now, a mother's journey starts with the babies in the womb. What were your experiences carrying the three of us?
Well, they were all very different. I had a very active first pregnancy, and 9 months went as quick as a wink. We were still in the throes of building a new house, and I was still trying to paint rooms and prepare the house ready for a newborn. So there's a lot of activity going on, and he was as active in the womb as I was active outside trying to get things ready. Second pregnancy, that was you.
That was me.
You just never moved. Did not move. There's quiet moments when you're lying in the bed or on the couch and you just know the baby's going to move. Well, no. I had to send a wave across my stomach to get you to just jostle, and you would just edge yourself out and then settle back in. And I'm like, are you all right in there? And of course, the best story of ever was the moment of birth when the midwife literally caught you as a torpedo and said, "Oh boy, look what we've got here." And then your grandfather dubbed you the perpetual motion. And I thought that's where all that energy was being stored.
Yeah,
you stored it up.
Stored it up. That's it. Stored it up, ready for the future.
Yeah. And third one, she pretty much just went along at her own pace because I was so busy with the two of you that I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. But I've got to say, I miscarried between you and her. And
I thought you miscarried between me and Sean.
No. I miscarried just prior to 3 months when I was expecting Catherine. I'd had a lot of trouble between pregnancies, between you and your oldest brother. Things just weren't working out, and it took a lot longer than I had hoped.
Yeah.
But then when I fell pregnant so easily with my third, I thought, oh, wow, that was such a blessing. And then I lost it. And there was a lot of grief in that because I had to wait a couple of weeks before it can be confirmed because it was in the first trimester.
Wow.
And I remember coming home after being in hospital for the day, being sorted out, and I just went straight into our bedroom and knelt on the floor beside the bed, and I was just in such anguish. And I cried out to God for a daughter. I said, all I wanted, Lord, was a daughter. I still get emotional about it. In fact, I was reading about Hannah in the book of Samuel, and the anguish and the desperation that she was sharing because she was barren, and she'd gone into the temple and was praying to God that she would have a child and that she would dedicate that child to God. And she was in such anguish that the priest thought she was drunk. And I was listening to that in a podcast on the way on my usual morning walk with the dog, and I just broke into tears because it reminded me of the incredible anguish I felt in losing an unborn, and to actually verbalize exactly what it was that was on my heart, and to have a daughter. And then, like, we didn't have all the fancy stuff where we could do the gender reveal halfway through a pregnancy. We didn't know any of that. We were carrying a baby that we didn't know God was giving us. But I had so many affirmations by older women around me that were sure it was going to be a girl. And I hadn't told them my story.
Yeah.
And even after I'd miscarried, I had one older lady say to me, you know, God is good. And then another gave me this little ceramic booty that was pink, and she said, this was given to me and I had a daughter, so I'm giving it to you. And of course, she was born. Her little fist entered the world first, and I grabbed hold of her and I helped deliver her.
That's cool.
And yeah, she was with us, and it was just an affirmation of God's goodness. And I just knew at that point that at every moment of prayer that I hold up my family, I know that God's with us. God is guiding us, and things are not always easy.
Yeah.
There's some hard stuff that we go on in life. But God is so good. And He wants to be in relationship with me. He wants to guide us in the best way. He wants me to be the best person I can be. And there's those sorts of things that have happened in life that have just affirmed that to me.
Yeah. Emilia, so as you're carrying our child, how are you going?
I'm going well. Getting a bit
and
tired.
After hearing that, what does that make you think?
Oh, it kind of rings home that it's really important to have a group of women around you. Because, yeah, like life is uncertain, right?
Totally.
Obviously, like I'm at a stage where it's, we're kind of through a danger zone.
Yeah, like if things happen, we can still deliver the baby, and the baby can survive. Is it out of utero? Out of utero is I think that's the right way of putting it. So if anything happens, we can actually have the baby delivered.
Yeah, but the baby will still need intervention.
That's right.
And things, but yeah, like I'm through that point, but through this whole journey, I've felt like how important, incredible, and valuable life is. I think I didn't have that understanding before. Yeah, like my body's just going through this process, and yeah, having women around me that I can draw from and learn from, because I've got a lot to learn. It's uncharted territory and exciting and nerve-wracking all at the same time. But yeah, having women of all different stages around me seems like a really valuable thing to have. Yeah, I do wonder you kind of go straight back to work if you don't have the time to spend with women of all different ages, of all different journeys, to learn from them. I just see it as something really valuable moving forward.
Can I ask you, after, I guess, listening to that, and I guess your experience, do you feel like a mother yet? Like, you haven't given birth, but do you actually feel like a mother? Like, do you feel like you can talk about?
I don't. It's a conversation that's been happening all week where my boss actually said to me, she's like, "So what are you getting for Mother's Day?" And I automatically thought, she's asking me what I'm getting my mum for Mother's Day. I was like, "Oh yeah, like my mum got like a ticket to go to Cirque du Soleil and stuff like that." And she goes, "No, no, no. Like, what are you getting for Mother's Day?" I'm like, I'm not a mother yet." And she's like, "But you're having a baby at some stage. You are a mother." I'm like, "But I'm not mothering a baby or a child. Like, I don't feel like a mother yet." But you also said the same thing. No, you are. You are.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, I see
and
you
you
as a
hadn't
mother.
really thought about it.
I know I've thought about it before. I actually think, yes, you are a mother. If because my belief is rooted in Christianity, I believe that if we were to miscarry that baby will still go to heaven, and that baby still exists. That baby does not then just disappear into the void.
Yeah.
You are still mother to that child, and you are still carrying that child. You are being a mother to that child. I still think of you as a mother since the day we learned that we were pregnant. So,
do you mean that moment where I was like, I think I'm going to do a test? And you're like, no, wait till the weekend. And you're like half asleep. And I come in and I'm like, this is like 4 a.m. in the morning. And he's like half asleep, being like, oh, I've got like another like hour for sleep, like before I have to get up for work. And I'm like, it's positive. And you're like, oh, yeah, babe. Yeah. I don't think it registered with him until during the day that it was actually a positive pregnancy test.
that's right. It was that yeah, I didn't realize it was a positive test. I didn't believe it. I actually thought she was pulling my leg.
Why would I?
Yeah.
Actually, it was an expired pregnancy test.
Yeah, you
and
had
you
to do
didn't
another
believe that it was going to be.
That's right. It was like, it's an expired test. It's not going to work.
You've got to do another one.
I was like, one going.
Oh, well, I feel like I need to wait all the time at the moment. So I'll just do another test in the next half an hour. No biggie.
And lo and behold,
Positive.
Yeah.
And we have a baby girl on the way.
Yes, it's due August.
Very exciting.
When did you find out when you were pregnant with your first?
Oh,
Do you remember? It's a long time ago.
yeah. Well, we had only just moved into our house, so it was about 3 months after moving in to the house, and we were still very busy getting the place ready to live in. We were doing all the painting ourselves and all the gardens and landscaping and all of that. So, we were intentionally trying.
Yeah, okay, that was my question.
Yes, we had put off. We'd been married for over 3 years at that point, and at some point I wasn't ready, or Steve wasn't ready, and then all of a sudden we're both ready, and we were building a house. So we realised, well, we couldn't really make this happen until the house was there. So, so we did intentionally plan, and it happened quite quickly, and yeah, it was very exciting because a lot of our friends were already starting their families, and it was just a given that it would happen. We didn't put a lot of thought into it. That was that stage where we were both ready, and we both wanted to be parents and carry that on.
Yeah.
Now, as a mother to be, and you've just listened to my mum go through her kind of a snapshot of her story. What are you most excited about, and then what are you most kind of apprehensive about, like you're most worried about? Go the easy one first, whichever one you want to do.
Well, I'm a bit of a shocker. Like, I kind of don't really think too deeply about things. I kind of just go into situations in life with just as open mind as possible. I don't know. I don't know what kind of mother I'm going to be. I don't
good
know
one.
how I'm going to approach conflicts with with our kids as they get older. Like, I don't know how. Yeah, I guess it's going to be a daily journey.
Cross that bridge when we come to it, kind of thing. Every time.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of.
There's only so much planning you can do, right?
Well, that's kind of what
That's
I've.
totally right.
Well, I am a big planner. I am.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, but I at the same stage is just like, if you put too much pressure on things, then is it just going to put pressure on you, and then maybe you might not think straight, or you might approach a situation not in the best frame of mind, or so I haven't really thought too much about like what I'm most excited about. I think starting a family is so special.
It is. We're very keen. Very
I know
excited.
it's something that we both, I suppose, sussed out in each other when we were dating. Do you want a family? Gary comes to me and goes, I would love 8 children.
8 children. Let's go.
And do you remember what my response was?
You're probably you're barking up the wrong tree, essentially.
I remember putting my hand on your hand and said, I don't think I'm your girl.
Yeah. And look where we are.
Well, you got to have the first one.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm excited for all those little moments, hanging out as a family, all those firsts, and each child is going to be so different and unique and special in their own way.
We're definitely having more than one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I shouldn't promise, right?
You would like.
I would like to have 3 at the minimum.
It is. I know you're all about replacement rate.
We need to get up for replace to do our part.
I think it's in God's hands. I do.
Yes.
Because we said we wanted to start a family when we got back from our big trip, and it happened fast for us, and that is a big blessing. But I do
I didn't think it was going to happen that fast.
Yeah, you did feel like it was going to be a hard journey for us, and I really sympathize with anyone that is out there that has had miscarriages. It's hard, and I can't even really speak to it, but please reach out to people around you, women.
Yeah, reach out to us, send us through some an email, and we have some contacts in care, and we'd love to get some people to help talk to you, and well, you're not doing this alone. There's a whole community out there who's willing to look after you as well.
Yeah, and I think the whole, I didn't kind of stick to the don't tell people for 12 weeks sort of thing. It's a bit of a, it's taboo, don't tell people, but it kind of forces you to do things alone. And we're meant to do life in community.
Yeah.
That's the way we were created. And so not telling people for 12 weeks does kind of isolate you if you do have a miscarriage. It's it's heavy, and to not be talking to anyone. Even some people don't even tell their own families, their immediate families, their siblings, their parents. Like that's a heavy thing to carry by yourself, and it does put the pressure on you and your partner if they're the only other person, and they don't. Like, I wouldn't expect Gary to understand. He would be obviously sad, but to carry or understand the burden that the woman is actually carrying with having a miscarriage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's for us, it was like, we want people to be aware and praying for us and supporting us no matter what happens. And I think that's the best thing. Like, if I'm going to give my child the best chance it has to get through that first 12 weeks, or whenever we find out, I think it was like 4 weeks. I don't know.
It was early.
It was pretty early. I'd rather have people behind praying.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, that was the biggest thing. And I was like, I don't care about this whole time limit. I'd rather have people praying that this baby's going to get through. And right now she's doing really, really well. She's doing strong. She's going to be a strong girl.
She's moving around a lot.
She's moving around a lot. She's going to get those kicks. She's going to be a soccer player.
And then every time I'm like, oh, I feel this. Just like earlier today, Feel this. Feel this.
And she gets a bit shy.
Oh, she's stopped.
She gets a bit shy for the first few times that she's like, "Oh, quick, get over here, feel the belly."
And it feels big to me, and then there's nothing.
There's nothing at all. And it happened to my mum earlier today. She's like,
Oh, look, it's just the calming hand of a mature grandmother.
No, she's just shy. She's starting out, right? She get to know you.
Maybe she's fine with you now. She's heard your voice all the
she's heard my
time.
voice quite a bit.
She's not sure who I am yet.
Yeah, she'll get to know you.
She will. She will. And then the second part of your question was the part I'm most nervous about.
Yeah, what are you most nervous about?
Probably just birthing. Actually, I've had a bit of fear around the pain of childbirth and whatnot. I actually did see someone about it, a psychologist, because it is a lot to put your body through, and you don't know what to expect. You don't know if you're going to have an easy journey or a hard journey. You're going to need all of the intervention or no intervention. I'm just kind of choosing again to take it all as it comes and just believing for the best and believing for the strength to get through what I'm facing at the time when I'm going through it. And I mean, we deliberately listened to a podcast the other day.
Yeah, we did.
To help equip Gary to be as best support to me and encourage me through that journey, which I think will be a big help.
What was that podcast called again?
The Great Birth Rebellion.
So Great Birth Rebellion, look it up. It's been a great podcast to look up and talk about birthing in general. They have heaps of topics, Australian-based as well, so they're very relevant to us here in Australia. So jump on that. I can even put a link in the description. I think it's well worth it for anyone who's expecting or wanting, to get pregnant and whatnot. It's a great resource, and they talk about a whole bunch of different things. So it's been invaluable. Full
of information. So I'm most nervous about that, and just the fact that it's unknown. But at the same point, I am a little bit excited to learn with our little girl as well. To learn with her and grow with her, because I'm going to be learning as well as she's going to be learning as we're interacting. And
and there's so many resources available through internet and apps on phones, and you can map the months of your baby's journey. 1 month old, they should be capable of this or that, or 1 to 3 months doing various things. And I think there's so much more knowledge and information at your fingertips than we had books, and if you had time to read a book, you'd be doing well. And we had the stories of other women and their deliveries, and they're hard to listen to sometimes, because some people do it so easy that you think, oh, great, wouldn't that be nice? But it doesn't always go that way.
And and that's what the midwives have said to me too. They're like, for every one really good birth, you will hear like 20 stories of horrible ones.
Yeah.
And like a lot of women around me have said, just really protect your headspace around that.
Oh, absolutely.
If you have someone come up to you in the shops or whatever. I'm a beauty therapist, so I'm dealing with women all day long, and there is opportunity for them to share all of their gory stories.
All of their stories.
But thankfully, they've been really thoughtful in how they've communicated with me around that, which I'm incredibly thankful for, because I think some people feel like it's their opportunity to share their story.
Yeah.
And it's not always the case. It doesn't help the person who's going into that journey. But it's...
No, it is. And it's as bad as, people sharing how wonderfully they go through pregnancy without any, I do pregnancy really well. It's a ball. I do it every time. And others are sick for the full 9 months, or uncomfortable, or sciatics pinching, or this or that. And you think, Yes, those stories are best kept to yourself.
Yeah.
There's a good movie about that what to expect when expecting. It kind of shows like 4 different stories
Yes.
of women going through their pregnancy, and they've been like all over the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And the hormones are rife, and people will say something to you. We have enough expectations on ourselves as
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
We live in a world where we've had to deal with the glass ceiling. We've had to deal with the oppression of women's rights through our childhood, and
Did you feel oppressed as a woman?
well, there was always that stereotype presented to me as I was growing up that there was no expectation for me to have a career, that I would probably just be a mother, and that will make me happy. So, yeah, I did have those expectations thrust upon me.
Well, that you should be doing more, or that you should be a mother?
No, look, I'm not worried about your education. You're going to be a mother one day, and that'll be fine. That'll be all you'll do.
Best
So that was
in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, so that was they were the expectations thrust upon me by the generation before me.
Yeah.
You're now dealing with a generation of women that are telling you can do everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's even harder, whether there's no expectation or all expectation. It can be quite a crazy thing to allow into your headspace.
It's the extreme opposite direction.
Totally. The pendulum has swung way too far.
Yeah.
And we thrust expectations on ourselves.
And I think like you make a decision on what's right for your family. And some people that are naturally meant to be or have a drive to have a career, maybe that's where they need to be. And maybe they're not as nurturing and not as mothering. Maybe they don't even have a desire to have children. And that's maybe what's right for them.
But maybe it's also that they, out of necessity, have to, to be able to afford a home, a roof over their head, cost of living. And that's
gone up so much.
I have the deepest appreciation of every woman that is raising a family in your generation, in this generation. Everything is fast paced. Children grow up expecting spontaneity and expecting everything in front of them right there and then.
Yeah.
We've forgotten how to wait patiently, save up for long periods of time.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that we don't do well in this generation.
I've definitely felt questions from people, women around me, like, so, like, when are you returning back to work? And sometimes that question's asked because it's of benefit to them. They want me to be back sooner because maybe they like how I do their eyebrows or something. But obviously,
your boss needs you.
We need to make the best decision together, Gary and I, on what's right for our family. And if that means less to be present in the household and
as in less financially to be present in the household.
Me earning less money or no money or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and whatever we need to do to kind of sacrifice to get there as well. It means less for us as well, not just for the whole family.
It means we're all sacrificing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's something we've been convicted of to want to do together.
Yeah. What does family look like, and what does
the importance of motherhood has kind of been instilled in us, and we see the importance, and we want to be able to give that, I guess, that gift to our child.
And I think we were both blessed to have our mothers very present. Like my mum was a dance teacher, so she was home all day, and then there was a crossover time between mum leaving to go teach dancing in the afternoon and dad getting home, and we had really close family friends that I would go to for that hour or so. And I'm still really close with that family. They're like my second family. But I got to have my mum all day, and that, I think that's really special and really important. There's a lot of children out there that don't have that luxury because parents are having to go back to try, and it almost feels like keep up with the Joneses. I know the costs of living are high, but is there an opportunity to pull back on something to be a little bit more present with the kids? Like, I guess it's a question that you have to work out together.
And crunch the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if you need to, maybe give up, if you give up a day at work, what can you give up in your life to be like maybe that might be the Netflix kind of thing. Could be something simple. Could be instead of eating this, we might have to eat this, or instead of going out once a week, maybe we'll go out once a fortnight, kind of thing, to have our your date time and stuff like that.
Well, so I also see that there's a balance. Some mothers find that they feel they can be a better mother if they're not there all the time, because they just feel they need that time away in order to be better in the presence with their children. And I respect that. It's I didn't necessarily choose by choice to be home all the time.
We're just going to take a quick break. Give us a second, guys. We'll be right back with you. All right, we are back. Sorry for the intermission. Hope you were able to have a chance to go pause the video and go to the toilet and come back. We are jumping back into the story of being a mother and the absolute privilege it is to be a mother. And we're talking about how mothers in this day and age have got to kind of sacrifice to even be a mother at home if that's what they choose, or some of our societies kind of told us that women, you can have everything. And so we're back into the conversation of can women do it all? Can they be mothers? Like, what are they sacrificing? If they're sacrificing, I guess, time with the child, what is that going to look like for their household? Is it the right move? um is the cost of is our government kind of helping us to get through that cost of living, to be able to even think about having families have mothers at home, or even a father, one parent at least at home, I think is something that we would love to. That's what we're striving for. And I think society's kind of got different ideas on what it is. And yeah.
I do think more and more this society requires a village to raise a child. It's not just about a nucleus family. It's about, it is primarily the responsibility of a parent or two parents to raise a child, however that looks like and whatever mix that is. But we can't do it alone. We do it trusting that other family around us can participate in that space as well. That we're reliant on daycares and after school cares at times, and so as a parent, it's that discernment to know what is the best outcome in that space. I think at any point in your child raising, it's being attentive to the needs of your child. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's always you, but it's listening, valuing that they have something to say, that they've been heard, that they're loved, and that they're valued by you.
Yeah.
I mean, children are not responsible for being here. I'm responsible if I give birth to a child. I'm responsible for that child right through to their adult years.
Fathers, you are too.
Oh yes, fathers are too.
It's not just all on the mother. It's fathers.
No, that's right. But
it takes two to tango.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is the one that's there raising the child, and we have a responsibility in that space to be attentive to their needs, to be listening, to be watchful of any unsafe behaviours that we might see. And I think that for parents in this day and age, it is so hard with social media and TV and just internet, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you're sitting there with. You can't always know what your kids are doing. But I think if you're building a relationship with your child throughout those young years and watching and being aware of changes in their behaviours at any point, or if you see them come home and they're extra quiet from school, or if you secretly notice that they've been crying, or don't turn your back on it. Be sacrificial in your time and be aware that they need your time. That's a hard thing to do because there are so many things pulling and pushing at us. But I think the one thing my mum taught me in relationship was that I was important to listen and value and be there for them. Be ready to apologise if I make a mistake. How else are they going to learn to say sorry if they hurt someone, if you haven't shown them the way? And I think, there's so much about that part of the relationship you have with your children as you're raising them that is so much more vital. Even if you're setting the table and a mate of theirs is all of a sudden there at the door, and you want to feed, you want them to continue their time together, I would make sure.
I was tragic for that.
Well, yes, you were, but
it was the worst of it.
But there was no way I was going to let you think that we couldn't feed that child.
Mm.
If they were there and you needed to be continuing that relationship at that time, I wanted to always see our house as an open house anyway.
Mm.
So if that meant that I had a spoonful or two less on my plate, or that we just made some cheese sandwiches later just to fill our bellies outside of that meal, I'd rather do that than and know that I haven't lost that moment for you in that relationship.
Is that true? Treat cheese sandwiches?
Oh, usually peanut butter.
Has no calories.
Quicker. You don't have to go to the fridge.
Don't have to toast it either.
No.
But you can if you want. Toasted.
But that sorts of thing. My mum was always doing things for other people and knitting, or, that was very much a generational thing that she did. She was always hands-on. And I just saw as a mother that, would seize the moment. If somebody walks into our house right on dinner time, then pull up a chair and have a meal with us, because that relationship is more important, and that's what it speaks to.
Mm. I think you've actually passed that on to us, really. It's something you've really instilled into me, is this gift of hospitality. And that's something I tell people, is like, my parents have the gift of hospitality, and that's something I want to emulate in our own household. That, whenever someone is in need, or, even our Christmases, we invite anyone along, because we have food to go around. We want to share the love that we have. And through that, we also want to share God's love. And, he's the one who opens the door for us. I want to be able to open the door for others as well.
Mm. I mean, I'd rather go to my grave knowing that I had mothered people.
Yeah.
Than not, and that I hadn't missed an opportunity to be a mothering figure to someone.
Mm.
I always welcomed, every one of your friends and whoever walked in the door. It was the case. And even when my husband Steve would bring someone home, I'd already be halfway through getting dinner prepared. And I said, well, yeah, get them to stay. As long as they like what I'm cooking, we can go there. But
we can make it work.
Yeah, we'll make it work. It's so important to just be open, to take opportunity. And that speaks volumes to your children, that you're just ready to change things up or do things differently.
Mm.
There's no set way of doing life.
Yeah. So I find a lot of people are struggling with purpose and joy of being a parent, from just the people I've talked to. What was like the most joyful things about being a parent? And feel free to tell some funny stories as well here, because I know you have them. Because I think it's something that is another thing. I'm getting a phone call, so give me a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Back in the zone.
Sorry for the the other interruption. We have been looking at houses and trying to buy a house, and so we're getting a lot of calls from agents, from, I guess, offers that we've left, and we're very hopeful that we're going to get the call to say that you've got a house. And so sorry about all the interruptions. We'll cut them down so they're only like a second. So let's get back into it. Joy of being a mother. What was favorite things, like the fun things? Like people, I guess, don't see the joy that motherhood can bring to yourself and to others and to your child, obviously. But like, I think those moments with your children are just never gonna come back. Like it's
you've got to be there for them.
Fleeting moments.
You've got to be there for them, like the first walk or the first words. They're always incredible joys. I think as your children grow, it's the first time that they have a conscience about something and come to you and talk about a mistake. They're really special moments. Look, every milestone, making grades, working at a career, there's lots of those that go on in your life because they're all the things that matter in society. And when you see your children coping or managing through those, being able to discuss with them the difficult questions or the hard decisions and actually feeling that you've given them enough guidance to make a good decision and stand by it. Most terrifying moments are when they start bringing girls or boys home that they really like and you're not really quite sure about that, or they make decisions out of the blue with you and you're like, okay. You just kind of hope that they're going to come to their senses at times. So they're the challenging ones. But Leah, there's lots of joys in the little moments, little joys of just watching you develop and grow and become, sensible adults in society. And there's nothing more proud to a parent to see your children becoming independent and capable and caring for someone else and being responsible in that space.
Yeah.
That's probably the greatest joy, and doing life with you as adults. That's such a pinnacle of joy.
And then guess you becoming grandparents.
Well,
you're going to be walking alongside us being parents.
That comes with both joy and trepidation because, it does mean.
Yeah, you look at your son over here and you're like, yeah, that guy's going to be a dad. Oh, man.
Dad. It's going to be like his father, and I have such privilege of having known Steve for over 40 years. And
why do I feel we're going to just be looking at each other, shaking our heads?
Won't that be joyful?
Yeah, because shaking our heads in a good way, like, oh my gosh, they're like the same person.
You already do that.
I know.
Well, we do,
but like as you interact with the little ones.
Yeah. I mean, I had one of those pivotal moments with my granddaughter the other day where I realized that her defiance was me at her age, or me as a 3 or 4 year old, and she wanted perfection in something, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's me. I drove my mother mad with that desire for some sort of perfection.
Do it perfect.
It had to be perfect. It had to be exactly the way she wanted it, or else she didn't want it. And her head was down on the ground and she was screaming. And I thought, oh my goodness, that was me.
And she didn't get that from her mother. I just don't feel like my sister's the perfectionist.
No, she's organised. She's not quite the perfectionist, but her mother was. Yes, yes.
That's pretty cool to see.
I drove my mother mad on that, and we had many slam the door arguments as I was becoming a teenager because that wasn't the way I wanted it done.
Yeah.
So it was one of those pivotal moments when you see one that's not even 2 yet defiantly saying no to something and you think, oh my goodness, I see.
And it's not even your direct child, it's your grandchild. So like it just goes to
what's she saying no to?
Blood's thicker than water.
Yeah.
Long story short, she wanted an ice block and she'd been given the opportunity in the morning and she ate half of it and I put it back in the freezer. when she came back to it, she wanted the perfect
She
one
wanted the
again.
whole
Again.
again.
And, you can't explain that to an under 2-year-old.
Why is it only half the size?
That's right. That was a hard one.
You're just scrimping and scraping here. You're not giving me the special one.
Yeah, what is this?
That was just ridiculous.
I want the full portion this time.
Absolutely.
Oh dear.
Oh, anyway. It was just one of those moments that, that aha moment. Oh no. there's me and her.
Oh, that's.
I think that would
fun.
be pretty funny.
What?
To see that with our kids, like
to see our grandparents,
to see ourselves in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I've had that other.
God help us.
I've had that other positive aha moment where I've watched her playing, and she's so compartmentalized in her play that I think, yep, that's me too. Because I do this task, I do it well, and then I move on to the next. Oh, if I've got to go back, I go back. And she was every bit of that, so organized. And I thought, yep, we know what her career will be.
Yeah.
She'll be that PA to someone and leading them around, telling them what to do.
Yeah. Oh man. That's going to be fun. Do you have any good stories about? Let's just go with me. Let's pick on the one that can defend himself. Do you have any good stories?
Where do you even start?
Well, you just believed what you saw at times, and I can remember having nightmares at times to get you in a bath and wash your hair, and I remember this one particular event. We were having a big family get together, and your grandfather, he was a prankster, and he loved doing tricks and magic tricks, and
I know where this is going.
if he could magic up a coin from behind your ear, or anyway, we had afternoon tea together, and he was doing these tricks with all these grandchildren, and you walked in the room and you had this lovely lock of blonde hair. You were just thick blonde haired kid.
What happened to you?
Yeah, my hair's changed.
It had taken.
This is all natural too.
Yeah, but it had taken an enormous fight
now
to get you cleaned up from the day, and you had we'd washed your hair, and you were looking pretty sharp. And he starts doing these tricks but this time he decided to. No, I think he was doing it with a coin, but you had a biscuit in your hand. And so you decided to start stuffing that biscuit into your head and trying to cough it back up, because that was kind of your interpretation of his trick. And all I could see was crumbs of biscuits all through your hair after such anguish to get you cleaned up. Dearie me.
What are we going to do with you?
What about the many times I injured myself?
Well, there was the climbing, the getting the news that you had been going hauled off in an ambulance to hospital because you climbed the top of the cubby house at preschool.
Yeah, I was a climber.
He was a climber. He was also very good at climbing.
Yeah, I've done it before.
Yeah.
Good at it.
Climbing. Very good at climbing.
Also encouraged by your brother.
The bank counter. You're probably the reason why they put all these screens up now.
Oh, thank you. He's got a hard head.
Because barely at the age of 3, you could literally get your fingers to that counter and you could climb that counter. You were exceedingly strong upper body child.
Funny.
But then there was the other side. I saw of you at that same age where you watched a tradesman put up a skylight in one of our rooms at home, and I think I was folding ironing or something, and you were standing watching him, and then he went to put the second one up, and you handed each piece of the puzzle, the pieces, you handed each piece to him exactly in the order it had to go, because you'd been watching him.
Mm.
And the guy just looked at me and said, "You got one smart kid here."
Yeah, what happened?
You're still smart. You're still smart. But yeah, and it just, you see those little things that other people notice and you go, wow, this kid is more than what you think.
Mm.
And I think they're all those moments in your life as you're raising kids. If you're observing them enough, you see those things that happen that you see is molding into your life. It's pretty extraordinary being a mother, being a parent. Just if you watch your kids enough, if you're observant, you see some amazing things.
And I think it's like a bigger role in society than people think. I think they've removed they've almost put like a stigma there if you're
we're replacing parenthood with childcare.
Yeah.
We're replacing parenting with childcare, which I think is a big loss in our society.
Well, we've listened to a few things on healthy attachments, like an attachment theory, and it does say the primary people in a child's life should be the mother and the father. The mother, especially at the very beginning stages, but
especially the first 3 years. Yeah.
And then the father, and then like extended family. So whether that's grandparents or whatever, we understand like people that don't have relationship with their extended, that they're estranged from their family or whatever, like it would be extremely difficult. But I suppose if it's not you, then who is it, and who's kind of speaking into your child's life, and who is your child spending the most amount of time with as well.
And
But
you really want trusted people in that space. You know, there's lots of children that need fostering. To have good parent role models in those foster spaces.
I think not just some
so
of them,
important.
All need it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I got a hard one for you. How would you rate yourself as a mother? And this is I want to get your idea, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you what I think of you as a mother.
That is not actually as hard as you think, because I think very little of me as a mother, because I feel I often have said from the word of Paul the Apostle, by grace of God I go. By God's grace I have been blessed, and I don't have any qualifications any more than the next mother has. But I didn't know any secrets that anybody else knew. I had a really great role mother in my mum, who was very patient with us, who constantly put us before herself, who saw that we're investing our lives into someone else, and that's more important than ourselves. So they're the things that I valued. And, you know, if I had to work, then I would always make sure that I still had dinner on the table for you when you needed it, or that you're at the sports event you had to be at. That was my commitment. You know, as parenting to me was the most important job and the biggest privilege, and anything else around that was less. But I've made as many mistakes as the next, and I will never judge another person for the way they raise their child, because we're all doing it for the first time. We're doing it the best we can, in the way that we can. I do have the enormous blessing of having a relationship in Christ who has given me a role model of parenting, of caring and loving, that I look to all the time. His patience, his mercy, his grace, just that constant step away and readjust and remind myself of my role. Forgiveness, trust, all those qualities that are in the one who saved me on the cross. That's who's probably taught me the most.
Now, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. You've done an amazing job, especially with a son like me, the crazy perpetual motion. You did an absolutely fantastic job, and you need to see it that, and my brother and sister will definitely agree with me that we were blessed to have someone who gave to us so self-sacrificially. And it's something that stuck with me, and the qualities I then looked for in a woman to pass on to our kids as well. Um, there's not enough words to tell us to tell you how thankful I am to have had you as a mother, and that I feel very privileged to have had you as a mother. Your example, your willingness to always be there, to listen, to show us when you're vulnerable as well, to show us your example under God as well, and your persistence with the word. It's absolutely inspiring, and your prayer life, all of that, just it like you're 100 out of 10. That's how amazing you are. And I want you to actually think about what if you could, what would be the thing you would say to your mother right now? If you could say something to your mum to pass on, just like I've just done to you, what would you say? Because I need you to know that you've done an amazing job.
My mum was very different to me in that she rarely ever shared her faith. She was somewhat restricted in how she could share who she really could be. But we talk about self-sacrifice. That was her. That was her with her family. That was her with us. She was always ready to listen. She was always ready to share her vulnerabilities. And I suppose in the same way that, you know, she had 2 sons first and then a daughter, it was that same blessing that she had to have that mix of both sons and daughters. And she did a lot harder than I did. Her mum, I didn't know her mum. She passed away when I was barely 2, and my mum nursed her as she died of cancer. And she watched her father go off with another woman during that time as well, and leave her to manage her 5 brothers and help raise them. I've got nothing on her. And I always took opportunity to share my love with her. You know, she lived with dementia for 11 years before she died. And when she'd look in my eyes in that last year or so, she saw her mother, not her daughter. She saw a carer, not her friend. But there was always this amazing woman that was my mentor that I remembered. She was there for you like I'm there for my granddaughters. She was an amazing woman. And by God's grace, in that last night before she died, I'm sure she's with him. Even though she didn't share much of what she truly believed, she lived it. And body language speaks so much louder than words anyway. So I would probably say those things that you've just said to me, I'd say to her, because nobody ever asked me, did I want to become a mother? I was just going to be a mother. You know, I didn't have any grand plans. You know, kind of winged it along the way. For being mother just seemed the natural thing.
Yeah. So what would you, for all the women out there, and you can even pass this on to my wife, what would be your word of advice your word of advice for them that would help give them hope in their journeys of being mothers?
Just demonstrate unmeasured patience. Love them because of who they are. Not what you want them to be, but who they are. Enjoy every moment of what they become. Guide them along the way. Be ready to listen. And you know that particularly when they're teenagers, they'll go through those stages where they don't want to. They won't pursue you, but you got to pursue them.
Mm.
Don't ever take the static position. Always be seeking them out. Use the guise of taking some clothes into their bedroom if that's what it is, or going and offering them a cold drink or something. But just go and sit on the edge of their bed and just be there, ready to listen. Not give advice necessarily, but just be a sounding board. And I think at every stage of your child's growth, from a tiny baby to an adult, to just be there.
Mm.
That doesn't mean you can't go off and have a career and work and do all those other things. But to be sensitive, to be there for them when they need you. It's the greatest privilege in the world, in eternity. You know, I think of what pain even Christ's mother, Mary, must have gone through to watch her son on the cross. And yet the most important thing he said to her when he was on the cross was, Apostle John, you look after my mother.
Mm.
My goodness. Well, it wouldn't be the first thing we'd think of.
Mm.
But he was sure-fired. He wanted to make sure she was cared for.
Mm.
How important is that?
Mm.
How incredibly important was she to him?
I can empathize with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just mind-blowing.
It's something I want to do for you guys.
Well,
Love you like you loved us.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's no rule books about it except for the Bible. There's only the experience of relationship with Christ that really teaches you that, because God is the author of love. And how do we do it any better? We don't. But in relationship with Christ, we can at the very least try. Yeah.
Emilia.
Yes.
How you feeling about it? About to be a mother?
Good.
Got a couple months left.
A couple of months left.
You ready?
As ready as you can be. Yeah.
Excited?
I am. I think, I can't, it's not about doing it in my own strength. I know that.
Yeah. We'll do it together. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been such an amazing night and such a privilege for me to have my mother on and to have my wife both in the same in the studio to talk about their journeys and the amazing person who my mother is, and I hope she knows, and I'll keep telling her that. For all of you out there, make sure you give your mum. It's not just Mother's Day to venerate them. Give them more than Mother's Day. Give them every day. Tell them how special they are to you. And same for your fathers. And for those who don't have mothers at the moment, you know, we grieve in your loss with you. If it's something else, you know, we truly recognize the brokenness of our world, and you know, we don't want to see that. And we pray that no matter what hurt and whatnot comes out of these situations, we pray that God will be guiding you and show you how you can be an amazing mother for all you women out there, because it doesn't matter what your mum has done for you. You can always learn from mistakes. You can always build on their on them, on their even their example, and be the best women you can be. But coming from a son to a mother, like just being there. You guys, mothers, you do amazing work, and I think we need to honor you in our society more than we do. I remember hearing stories of how the Spartans would venerate their women, that they wouldn't get any sort of any tombstones or anything unless they died in childbirth, because being a mother was the greatest thing. And so I don't want to just take that, but I want to take it further. Like, we need to honor women and mothers especially, and hold them up. And let's make this Mother's Day. And I hope this is actually coming a day in the future. I hope your Mother's Day was special. Send us up some comments of how your Mother's Day was, and mothers, if you're there listening, tell us how your kids spoiled you, and don't be afraid to tell them to do better.
Please share with us the funny gifts that they've got from the Mother's Day stall
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
you with the $5 that you've given.
Excuse me. So, closing comments. Do you have anything to say to everyone before you head off? Before we finish?
Those vases are still in the dark waiting for flowers.
So you need to be sharing the show, and I'll get those flowers filled.
Just kidding.
I'll post up a photo.
No, but she's serious.
She's serious.
No, really kidding. No, shout out to all the mums. I take my hat off when I watch other mums the way they do things. I just think this young generation just rocks it really well.
Emilia, any closing comments?
I don't know.
Pray for us.
Watch this space.
Watch this.
I'm sure you'll see dark rings under Gary's eyes in about
eventually
3 months or so. Yeah, I'm sure he'll share little stories and funny moments that happen in our household, no doubt.
That's right. Just like we shared John's story of his baby's birth, I'm sure we'll share mine as well.
Yeah, we need all the prayer we can get.
That's it. All right, everyone. It has been a pleasure to have you here. So if you could please remember, every like is a flower to my wife for her Mother's Day, and every share is a flower to my mother for her Mother's Day. So make sure you hit the like button and share the show, and we'll see you next time. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.